Death. For the second time, attention-seeking has-been comedian Kathy Griffin posted an unhinged profane tweet on her Twitter account threatening death against President Trump by suggesting that someone inject air into his bloodstream using a syringe. Then when she was called out and savaged for that tweet by other Twitter posters and the Washington Examiner, she doubled down on that with an equally profane follow-up tweet unapologetically proclaiming pride in the first tweet 109-110 as well as lashing out profanely at individuals who criticized her for the original tweet, all of which only earned her even more criticism in response. 111 The Washington Examiner reported that within moments after Griffin posted the original tweet, numerous posters reported her to the Secret Service for openly advocating incitement to commit murder. White Antifa terrorists, most of which were speculated to have busted in from out of town, were caught on video getting up to their usual childish and criminal antics as they were seen smashing windows and committing other acts of vandalism in the Minneapolis riot spawned by the death of a black man by Minneapolis police. 112 According to responders to the video clip, Antifa was simply using the death as their excuse to resume their criminal activities, with no regard to the damage or further suffering they caused by their actions. Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison is a major supporter of Antifa. Left-wing news organizations such as CNN and NBC repeatedly referred to riots as protests and rioters as protesters. 113 Protesters take over CNN headquarters. 3 Rapper Killer Mike to CNN, stop feeding fear and anger every day. 4. Leftist rioters breach Treasury Department. 5 White House on lockdown. 6 White leftists block DC police. 7. Leftist rioters beat up LA cop. 8. Leftist rioters assault Chicago policewoman. 9. Oakland protests started at 8 p.m., 2 security guards shot. 10. Trump campaign event comes under attack from gunfire. 114. Gateway pundit columnist Cassandra Fairbanks was doxxed by Antifa, overwhelmed with death threats by anonymous cowards in her house in Washington, D.C. attacked by a pack of cowardly Antifa hoodlums in retaliation for her writing about the Antifa riots in Minneapolis and elsewhere, forcing Fairbanks and her daughter to flee their home with their pets. 115 116 A GoFundMe account was set up to help Fairbanks and her family relocate to a safe location, while on Twitter, most posters were supportive of and sympathized with her, but a few leftist troublemakers callously belittled her and her situation, with one even accusing her without proof of grifting. Violent Antifa punks, the majority of them brain-dead teenagers and college students taking part in the Antifa riots plaguing parts of the U.S., attempted to viciously mob and vandalize a truck towing a horse trailer containing horses, as well as unhitch the trailer from the truck and throw gas bombs and firecrackers into the trailer to intentionally scare the horses, as the punks illegally blocked a highway in Tulsa, Oklahoma. 117. The punks showed their true childish and cowardly colors when the truck driver, attempting to protect his cargo, accelerated his truck and plowed through that crowd, knocking several of the punks aside as some of them, having a misguided sense of invincibility, stupidly attempted to jump in front of the truck and block it as it was moving and ending up getting injured through their own fault as a result. Subsequent to the incident, one of the horses in the trailer died from burns suffered from the fireworks thrown into the trailer, which opens the punks responsible for the fireworks to now face criminal charges for mischief and animal cruelty causing death. 118 119 120 121 122. June 2020. See also, 2020 Marxist Uprising. Note, many of the violent actions in the pre-planned Marxist uprising across the United States beginning May 28, 2020 are too numerous to count and may not be recorded here. 123 124. In a turning of the tables from the usual Antifa-instigated trouble, several Antifa punks who attempted to invade the town of Yucaipa, California to stir up the group's usual criminal mayhem were dealt a rude awakening as they were instead beaten and chased out of the town by many of the town's citizens, who rose up to defend themselves en masse against the young and cowardly hooligans. 125. Retired St. Louis Police Captain David Dorn was murdered by socialist revolutionaries during the Marxist uprising. 126. Bay Area Democrats rioted in Oakland, California. 127 Nearly 10,000 people took to the streets of the California community, looting stores like Target and Walgreens, and setting fire to a Chase Bank. A black officer from the Department of Homeland Security was murdered and another officer shot. 128 129. St. Louis, 24-year-old convicted felon Stephen Cannon murdered 77-year-old retired black police captain David Dorn, who was working as a private security guard. During the riots in that city 130 the shooting and theft was posted on Facebook Live. Dorn served on the St. Louis police force for 38 years. Dorn's personality was described as bigger than life, a fun guy, a happy guy. He wanted them to do the right thing all the time. The Ethical Society of Police, which represents black officers in St. Louis, said in a news release that Dorn was the type of brother that would have given his life to save them if he had to. 131 Cannon, who was caught on video shooting Dorn, was subsequently arrested for Dorn's murder and has been charged with first-degree murder, first-degree robbery, first-degree burglary, armed criminal action, and unlawfully possessing a firearm. 132. In response to a Catholic prayer rally announced by the Gateway pundit at a statue of St. Louis, the saint which the city is named for, and whose statue is being targeted for removal by far-left Islamic activist Umar Lee, in Forest Park, the city's racist Democrat treasurer Tishora Jones irresponsibly called the rally a KKK meeting, and the attendees, white supremacists, displaying clear ignorance of the fact that the KKK is the creation of her own party and is historically as anti-Catholic as it is anti-black. 133 Following Jones' comments and a false claim by Lee that the rally attendees were connected to the Charlottesville riots in 2017, over 100 violent leftist thugs soon after crashed the rally at Lee's urging with a protest that degenerated into violence as the hoodlums viciously harassed and childishly mocked the rally attendees, hurled profanities at them and acted disruptively. 135 vandalized the statue with racist and sacrilegious graffiti. 136 and made open threats against the St. Louis Cathedral. 137 and several of the rallygoers were assaulted by the thugs, one of which, racist black activist and member of the notorious Crips gang Terrence Page. 138 was caught on camera using brass knuckles to viciously assault a rally attendee in a cowardly blindside attack, then kicked him in the head after the man went down and also assaulted two other rallygoers. 133 then openly bragged about the assaults on his Facebook page afterward. One of the rallygoers, Connor Martin, announced later that he intends to file criminal charges against the thugs, including Page, who invaded the rally and assaulted him and other attendees. 135 While the Gateway pundit itself intends to file libel charges against liberal fact-checking website Snopes.com for a defamatory and falsehood-filled hit piece written by that site about the event and the Gateway pundit. 138 Corrupt Soros-funded St. Louis Democrat Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner threatened legal action against a local couple who brandished firearms to exercise their Second Amendment rights and defend their home against Antifa and BLM rioters who were threatening the couple's neighbors, including St. Louis Democrat Mayor Lyda Krewson. 139 In a private gated community the punks had broken into, while she stood up for the lawless hoodlums. 140 Gardner was heavily criticized for her legal threat afterward on Twitter as a majority of respondents stood up for the couple while also criticizing the unruly mob. 141 While supporters of the rioters illegally doxed and threatened the couple on Twitter after another such supporter, whose Twitter account has since been terminated, demanded the couple's private information in a since-deleted tweet. Nashville, Democrat Mayor John Cooper openly urged protesters to join him in a rally downtown. The attendees instead responded by burning down the courthouse and setting off riots. 142 Dallas, a huge pallet of bricks was found just outside of a Dallas courthouse. There was no construction going on in the area. The bricks are suspected to have been brought to the area by Antifa rioters with the intent of using as weapons. 144 4-year-old legend Taliaferro was murdered by Marxist gangbangers while sleeping in his bed during the BLM riots. 145 Kansas City, police announced they found stashes of bricks and rocks in and around the plaza and Westport to be used during a riot. The Daily Caller reported. Kansas City police officers found bricks and rocks staged near protest sites around the city, stoking concerns that individuals or groups had pre-planned looting and destruction that hit the city over the weekend, the department said Sunday. We have learned of and discovered stashes of bricks and rocks in and around the plaza and Westport to be used during a riot, the department said in a tweet on Sunday. 146